Since I had already warmed up, I will carry on.
Okay.
And I would like Victoria, who has been a fundamental part of the leading team, who has made sure the SIGA Universal Standards are like a Swiss watch. In this case, a British watch, because BSI has its birthplace in the United Kingdom. But what an adventure this has been. What a momentous occasion we have been living. We have had the opportunity to demonstrate that when we talk about reform, when we talk about state-of-the-art governance, when we talk about solutions that effectively safeguard the integrity of sport, we can do it. We can deliver it. And in a moment like this, the SIGA Universal Standards stand on its own 2 feet as a silver bullet that they are to service sport and the wider community. Many people have been spoken on this stage and virtually, and they all converge to this idea. Sport to be sport requires integrity, because sport without integrity is not a sport, it's a shame. Our job, when we started this journey, was to demonstrate that despite a sport being in shambles, with its reputation being dragged through the mud, with ongoing high-profile criminal investigations driven by the FBI and other agencies, despite the decapitation of political leaders who were at the helm of extremely important organizations, that was a reason to continue to believe in sport. A sport that would not live only on the glory of the athletes, on the merit that is inherent to heavy victory, on the passion of the sponsors who ask nothing but to have fair play and clean sport. A sport that could stand tall, be proud, and offer a dignity to all those who want to play it, who want to run it, or simply who want to enjoy it. A vision is important. A vision can inspire, a vision can motivate, a vision can drive. But what is a vision without tangible pillars, without a roadmap? This was laid down by a group of visionary leaders who have been with me and others from day one. Endless hours dedicated to craft the perfect standards that would respond to every single challenge, every single question, every single threat we could see on the way organizations govern themselves, on the way financial transactions are governed. How could we ensure accountability to an industry that holds such an important role in today's global society and economy? How can we restore the trust of those who had lost it when they could only see headlines of indictments and court cases and suspicions and innuendos one after one? The SIGA Universal Standards are, as I mentioned, the silver bullet, the recipe, not from a government, and many governments, I have to say, we are still waiting for you, decades and centuries, not from a sports governing body, but from a true global, independent, multi-stakeholder, neutral community committed to spur change, committed to service sport, not to judge, not to finger point, not to blame, not to shame, but rather to inspire, rather to encourage, rather to facilitate, rather to walk the walk side by side with those who really mean business. Reality showed that we have come a long way. But from the three original standards, good governance, financial integrity, sports betting integrity, there was one missing piece. And this missing piece was identified right at the outset, at the moment of creation, I would say, when we became a legal entity. Cindy McCain, the wife of the deceased Senator John McCain, running a very influential NGO in the United States, made that point. And although I wanted to keep this confined to what I believe was the essential, and certainly was the big threat at the moment, I could not help agreeing with her. We needed to close the circle. So youth development and child protection were added to our cocktail of antidotes. This is the genesis of a journey that led us to here. And with a number of organizations, with a number of experts committed to change, we have designed these universal standards. An independent, multi-stakeholder task force was set up, and to all of them, and I don't have time to mention all their names, but they are in my heart and in my gratitude, we produced the standards, we refined the standards, and we made sure that those standards were not only the best in class, but they were susceptible of being audited. And what better partner could we have but BSI? Because they are the leading authority as far as standard setting is concerned. They are independent. They have been set up by Royal Charter in 1851, if I'm not mistaken. I was not around then. And they are committed to excellence. What drives them is not business. What drives them is to ensure that the industry can operate and justify the trust. And with them, we will not only offer these standards on youth development and child protection, but we will make sure that sports remain accountable. Because I am a father too. And every time I left my kids at practice at a young age, I wanted to be certain that they were in safe hands. And we know, even those who have no children, we know that this is a very vulnerable sector, a very vulnerable area. And that is why we needed to have these universal standards in place. Going from recruitment, training, education, and protection. Protection against injuries, physical injuries, against moral abuse, against smuggling and trafficking. And because I mentioned these words and they are heavy, I cannot also ignore the fact that in this country, that is, at this stage, a court case being ruled, there is a trial ongoing precisely for human trafficking in sport. We offer the standards, we offer our dedication, and we offer this sort of Swiss Army knife that together with BSI and together with the United Nations, by the way, whose mission has inspired us. We want to continue to work with the United Nations, hand in hand, delivering our share. But we can only do this with your support, with your participation, your encouragement, because you too are responsible for where you are, where we are, and where we want to be. So thank you very much. I will now give the floor to my friend who has a lot to say to you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. So, Victoria Brennan from BSI, thank you for the wonderful introduction, Emmanuel. You're a hard person to talk after, but I'll try my very best, and I will speak in English, or at least I'll try. I'm very excited to be here today to help you launch the Youth Development and Protection Standards. I've obviously come to this fabulous event and listened to all the speakers. The very first person I heard, Franco Frontini, talking about transparency. Daniela Bass talked about trust. And that's what BSI is about. We're about trust and confidence. And that's why I think this partnership is so important for us, because we'll provide that purpose and confidence in the marketplace. As he said, BSI is all about purpose by Royal Charter, putting something back and doing things that are right for the community. So we do provide an independent and impartial third-party certification body. Partnering with you will provide us giving you support for the certification process. And we are impartial, which is absolutely integral to what you're all trying to achieve. What I've heard repeated since yesterday evening, very emotively, is that it's time to act, time to make things happen. Let's just talk for a moment about the standards which you've just mentioned. Creating standards not only takes time, but it requires participation, discipline, focus, and commitment, which you all have. It's built on consensus, is a fundamental, as you say, pillar of creating a standard. The Youth Development and Protection Standard created by yourselves in association with the stakeholders and your members provides a really clear framework. This framework gives clarity and allows everyone to understand the commitment that's required. It tells us what good looks like. It tells us what we should be achieving. It tells us how we need to protect our youth. And it's built on continual improvement. We're saying, this is where we start, and this one we must keep going. The standards that you've created have a framework, bronze, silver, and gold, allowing organisations to start their journey and continue. This standard will create accountability and will make a change. And not only that, as we've also mentioned, you very clearly yesterday, we have a moral obligation to develop and protect our youth. Now, the standards that have been written cover a vast range: recruitment, education, training, and fundamentally protection. This allows sports organisations globally to first self-assess and make plans to take action to address the requirements that have been very carefully put together by the stakeholders that we've talked about. But what's really important, in fact it's critical, is that we take the step to commit to demonstrating that transparency we've all talked about and sign up to serve. As the global leaders, you will be the ones to lead change, not just for organisations, but more importantly, show the youth of today that we are serious and committed to protecting them now and in their future. Thank you.
Please, juries.
Apologies. Juris requires no introductions. She has a very important job title. She's the CEO of the US Civ Sport, but she has an even greater responsibility. And it's not an easy one. Given what the situation is in America, the challenges that are public knowledge, the weight and the significance of her mission, US Civ Sport, and all those who are involved, is a huge one. Juris is also a member of our SIGA Standing Committee on Gender, Race, Diversity and Inclusion, where she is the deputy chair, having a pivotal role in advancing reforms in relation with these priorities. She was also a very active member of the task force on youth development and child protection. Together we have combined solutions. Together we are committed to pursue them, whether it is in the US or internationally. Juries, I would like to ask you to take the floor and address our audience. Sound?
Not to be with you all in person. I had hoped to be there today. It's been quite the journey, I think, with the Youth Protection Task Force and developing the standards. Something that the world really has been waiting for. What I've seen at the Center for Safe Sport is that, there are a lot of things and pieces of sport that have been attempted to be tackled. And many of them end up in these silos. And so you have good work happening in different areas, but not a lot of folks will come together to put that work together and actually make it something that is usable and tangible and will really start to impact culture change across the of course, United States, but also the entire world. And so being part of SIGA has been a real pleasure and really eye-opening to see not only the different types of challenges that every country is facing when it comes to athlete safety and safeguarding and youth protection, but all of the commonalities that we have as well, which I think have really contributed to the development of these standards, where there were several pieces included, not only the training, but the recruitment, the education, the overall protection embedded in these standards that we could all agree on. And I think that is something that, particularly in this day and age, is hard to come by. And so being able to come together and put together these standards to really start as a baseline for organizations and countries to start to strive towards is really remarkable. One of the things that I love about these standards is that it does meet people where they are. And so if you're just getting started, or if you are midway there, or you're really already striving for gold, there's a place for you and there's actions for you to take embedded in these standards that will impact the athletes that you are working with each and every day. At the Center for Safe Sport, we've seen that happen in real time over the last 5 years, where many of the organizations involved in the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic movement, some were really doing well, some were just getting started. Our job was to bring them along and help them be the best that they could to really support the athletes that compete for Team USA. And so having seen that play into action and be able to share those learnings, not only with those involved with SIGA, but really through the adoption of these universal standards, I think is just, it's really wonderful to see. And I'm really happy to be a part of that.